Derrick White to the Boston Celtics. At the Spurs here, wheeling and dealing a little over the last few days. So Derrick White going to the Boston Celtics for Josh Richardson, Romeo Langford, and a 2022 first-round pick. So Derrick White, we're giving up a first-round pick and decent players in this deal here. In my opinion, he's going to step right into that starting point guard role for the Boston Celtics, and this definitely is a bump up on Derrick White's fantasy value on the season here for White. 14.4 points a game, 3.5 rebounds, 5.6 assists, 1 steal a game, 1.7 threes, and 42% from the field. But right now, like I mentioned, he's going to be a main man over there in Boston, and he's got 2 great players to play with in Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. So right here, Greg Popovich and the Spurs, they went a different direction, and they're going to keep DeJounte Murray as their man now. They get another first-round pick here. We saw him trade for Dragic early in the day, but he might get waived. And the Spurs are in a little bit of a rebuild mode and cleaning off the cap space as well here. So Derrick White, they get a first-rounder for him. They developed him over the last few seasons, and now they trade him to Boston, and he's going to have great fantasy value over there for Boston. And the Celtics here is a playoff team this season. Now to the San Antonio Spurs side of things here. Josh Richardson coming in, but I think he's only on a 1 or 2 year deal, and he's a guy who could shoot the 3 ball, but he really don't have fantasy value. Is Josh Richardson on the season? 9.7 points a game, 2.8 rebounds, 1.5 assists, 1.4 threes a game, and 44% from the field. So right here, he was just a throw-in to match up the money a little in this deal. Is Richardson? He's no more than a guy coming off the bench as a 9th to 10th option on the San Antonio Spurs team, and he's definitely not a fantasy option as well, where he's available in 95% of fantasy leagues. So right here, it's a filler for San Antonio. It's a guy to get on the court, and yeah, he's a guy that could spread the floor, but he's not a fantasy option in my opinion. But Romeo Langford, he's a young player that they definitely could develop over here, is the San Antonio Spurs team, and that's what Greg Popovich is known for. Langford, he didn't play much, obviously, with the Boston Celtics this season. 4.7 points a game, 2.4 rebounds, and 42% from the field. So this season here, they're going to try to develop him a little for the remainder of the year, San Antonio. But this is a guy maybe next season we'll hear his name a lot over there, and a guy who can maybe crack the rotation. But this year here, no fantasy value, but definitely a guy who they use as a project over there in San Antonio to see if they can make him into some type of role player, even a starter down the line. But they get the first-round pick, so Derrick White goes to the Boston Celtics, and it's a good move for Boston. They needed a point guard. And right here, good move for a San Antonio team trying to rebuild draft picks in the process. So we'll see what we'll see if Derrick White could be a good contributor for this Celtic team and fantasy owners. The remaining